material is
Oh,
very
hang on a minute.
varied.
Right, now we're recording. Okay, so I have
Right.
with me today all the guys from Kash Nexus. I've got Steve, I've got Roscoe and Greg. And yeah, it's great to have you here at Malacot Radio. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks for
So
having us.
I want to ask you about the band, how it got together and what the message is behind your music. Anyone,
Oh,
if you can jump in.
uh, we were working with a group of people doing music for therapy, and Steve and I and Mick got together. Though I think Mick and Steve, you'd been doing something together before I joined, hadn't you? And then
Yeah,
Greg, we picked
yeah,
up later on.
yeah, but it sort of coalesced when you came in, and then Greg later.
Yeah, we decided we needed a drummer, so we sucked Greg in.
And is it different from your past band then, Steve?
Is it what? Sorry.
Is it very different from the past kind of music that you've done?
I'm sorry, I don't understand what you're saying.
No,
Is is this band different from any from the other music that you've done before?
Oh no, not at all.
It's all quite original stuff. I mean, I absolutely love the fact that all your tracks are very varied and very different as a band. So it'd be lovely to hear like the inspiration behind each track. Currently my favorite one is actually Blood on the Soil. So I'd love to know the story behind that track.
Well, the story behind that track is the, you know, criminal war against Iraq and Middle East countries. Yeah, that's what drives me, is to expose the truth, um, and cut through the lies of the media. The authentic, so-called authentic media, unlike your production. Yeah, I mean, the war, these wars have been fought for profit. Yeah.
So you guys almost, I mean, I get the feeling like you're almost like musical freedom fighters when I listen to your tracks. Would that be right in
Oh.
saying, or is there an overall message you want to let everyone know about who you are and what it is that you do?
Well, I think it's a bit of both, really. I mean, you can't keep sledgehammering you know um, political stuff. You got to kind of mix it up a bit to keep it interesting. You can't keep hammering the same thing. Um, and I think that's, as you pointed out, it's our stuff is very varied. Um, um, but it never strays very far from the political.
Yeah, I mean, I noticed it covers all kinds of genres as well. Like, I hear definitely one of your tracks sounded very 90s, very kind of almost Beatlesque and Oasis-esque. Another one sounded very kind of Metallica with the really, really heavy guitar behind it, and I think I really loved that. So what sort of inspires you to mix it up in that way? Do you find the lyrics first and then set the music to it, or is there a real creative way between you that you've got like a formula, or is it just it just
Well,
happens?
speaking for myself, songs can happen in all of those versions you just said. Sometimes the lyric just comes out of nowhere at me, and then I worry about the music later. Sometimes the whole thing comes together as one. Um, Troubled Man was one of those off the latest album. That came together very, very quickly, but all at once. Other ones, just there's a bit of this, bit of that, you know, and it takes a few months to put it all together.
Wow.
But Steve and I, the uh, One Way Out was quite interesting. Steve and I wrote that together, but separately.
I love the harmonies on that, actually. They're really, really good.
Yes, they were good, weren't they? Yeah.
Yeah, some of that was my sister too,
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
so,
right. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. It was.
Deborah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So you bring in other people like sessionally to do bits and pieces on your tracks as well.
Oh, not much, just my two.
Yeah, just a few. When
And sorry, Chris Fogarty with the amazing harmonica. Yeah, which you can hear throughout a lot of the tracks.
But sorry, just getting back to One Way Out with Steve and I, it was so interesting. Was we were both writing lyrics at the same time, but separately, and then found that they worked together,
Wow.
and it made a whole song.
What's the story behind One Way? That's another one that I really like. I've played it a lot on my show, actually.
Of most stuff.
Well, yeah, get on that train.
Yeah.
Yeah. It kind of sticks in your head, the lyrics as well, which is great. So I was reading on your bio, so you guys, you don't profess to be, new youngsters in the business. I'm assuming you've all been in other bands before. So what is special to you guys about Kash Nexus as a band?
I think for me, it's just I like playing music, and it's hard to find people to get together with as you get older, and we managed to come up with something that's so far produced a lot of good times for us and a lot of good music for you guys.
I think that's the hardest part, isn't it? I mean, I can certainly relate to that as someone that's been, with bands and in bands for like 12 to 15 years and touring with them and that kind of thing. And it is really difficult, isn't it, to find people the older you get. You're absolutely right. People that you get on with, that you can have fun with and that kind of thing. So do you have a lot of fun in rehearsals? And, obviously at this moment in time, I guess, are you rehearsing over Zoom? How are you getting together? How are you having that fun?
Well, luckily we got the last album. We just finished it in time, in terms of being in the. Well, we don't actually often record all at once anyway. We're always like in and out, We do a part, but thankfully we had all the stems down, so we could do it. Ross would be mixing it, and we could do it, by remote control. So we got lucky there.
Because of the lockdown, just to.
Oh yes, sorry, yeah, that's right. Because
Lindsay. Just Melbourne's been in a big lockdown for about 3 months. Because the rates of cases of the pandemic were increasing. And I don't think I need to tell you what's happening in Britain.
No, absolutely not.
America.
Yeah.
Or America. Yeah. So, go on, Greg.
Where was I? So very fortunate. We could finish the album off. Just over our phones, really.
So what's your usual process in regular times, if we can even call it that now? You know, do you all bundle into the studio, or you all take your separate parts and do that anyway as well, and then get into the studio and listen back? What's
Look,
the usual
I
creative
think we
process?
have to set the scene. When we were first got together, we were practicing in my garage every week, every week. And you know that was fine. It was great. But as time moved on, we moved into COVID period, and that wasn't possible anymore. I'm very susceptible to the COVID virus, so I've been locked down for months. So it took a different course, and everyone sort of went their own way, that was just unfortunate.
But we managed to get it all done in the end.
Our way of recording really is, it's go in there and do a bit at a time.
So some of them we sort of record a basic track first, just so Greg will do it on his guitar, or I'll do it on a piano or whatever.
Yeah.
But then we'll all come in one at a time and record the separate parts over the top of that.
Yeah.
And yeah.
And is that how you get your harmonies? Did you?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. We all love harmonies.
Yeah, who doesn't love a good harmony?
Oh, well, that's what I think. The harmonies are what makes this band, great. And yeah, I have to once again say my sister Deb participated in that.
So when I've spoken about you guys on the show, I have likened some of your harmonies to that of the Beatles. Actually, would you say that's fair?
Well, everyone's influenced by the Beatles.
Depends on the track, but yeah, one in particular.
Just put it in print.
Yeah.
I was just that very generous.
Who would you say your influences are then?
I don't know. My influences are, well, Beatles are in there, although I wasn't really into the Beatles when I was younger. But my main influences are more like Paul Simon, James Taylor, that kind of middle of the road sort of.
Yeah, great stuff.
Yeah, all really good stuff. And is there anyone sort of in recent times as well that influences your music, or do you like to kind of capture that more, of the past?
Well, it's not that I try to capture it. It's just that it's probably what influenced me when I was younger. So that's the kind of that's what you keep in your head more. So when you start writing music, it just happens that becomes an influence in your music. It's not that I try to. It just is.
Fantastic.
So I don't know about you other guys.
As far as contemporary, well, it's not contemporary now, but I really love the acoustics of Nirvana in the unplugged MTV. That's how when Mick and I have to mention Mick the guitar player, who is just a fantastic guitar player. Him and I got together first, and we loved the idea of acoustic rhythm with an electric guitar, which is, I guess, somewhat like Nirvana Unplugged, but you know.
Yeah, I'm with you on that with Nirvana. I did really enjoy them in the 90s.
Step down. Yeah, sure. Yeah. So, yeah, that was
and before
my
Greg
initial.
we were basically doing that, just acoustic rhythm with Mick screaming on his electric guitar.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's when. So that was a transition. Ross came in. I dropped the guitar because I'm not very good at it, and Ross is very good at it. And so I could just sit back and try and work the lyrics out and the vocals.
I think one thing I've noticed is that you all can sing, which I think is quite a rarity these days with bands. Was that a conscious decision to make between all of you, that all of you were going to be able to do some kind of vocals, or did it just happen?
Just happened.
Yeah. And it works.
It evolved.
Yeah.
Because I've never considered myself a singer. And in fact, there's a couple of my songs that I do actually sing, because I just felt they had to be sung by me. But the first one, I just said, to the guys, I've written a song, but it needs to be sung by me, but I can't sing. And I said, sure you can. And I gave it a try, and it was okay.
Wow.
So I've never thought of myself as a singer, but it's getting there.
Yeah. It all sounds good to me when I listen to those tracks.
Good.
Fantastic. So what are your plans for the future? I mean, I know obviously COVID is happening at the moment. Obviously, what are your plans as a band? I mean, are you going to be bringing out any more music during this time? Are you waiting for after this finishes? What's the plan, guys?
Well, we're definitely keen to keep going in some form or another. We have we're all still writing. We've not been able to be together because of COVID. But we're coming out of lockdown now, as you're going into it.
Yes.
We're coming out, and it's our summer now. So I'm looking forward to us just getting together and just setting up the instruments and playing for a bit. Not to mention, like I said, I've got probably a dozen songs backed up that I've written over the last 6 months that we've been locked down, and I'm sure the other guys got stuff backed up as well. But just to be able to get together and play again in the same room.
I bet that will feel amazing when it happens as well. Do you feel like you've been influenced to write about this current climate and situation with COVID?
Oh yeah, of course. I wrote a COVID song, and I filed that into forget about it.
But
there were so many of them. I wrote one, and I just that's great, yeah. But then Facebook's full of a million of them, and I just went, forget that one, file that away.
You never know. You might dig it out at some point, and it might still feel relevant and be able to reuse it?
Well, actually, on a broader um, um, aspect, writing something about it might be good. Um, mine was pretty basic about just lockdown, but I think what you're talking about is a little broader than that. And yeah, I think that could be good.
That all sounds good. And apart from that, I mean, when things hopefully eventually return to normality, are you planning on doing any live performances at any point? Is there any talk of anything?
No.
You know how old we are?
Yeah, I do. I've
I
been
don't think I can cope with it.
I've been there. I was touring with a band for about 12 years, and they were all 50, 55 plus, and we had a lot of fun. So it's
Sure.
doable. It's just the current climate, isn't it, really, that holds us all back.
Yeah. No, it's not. No, it's not the age factor. It's just the gigs just aren't there.
Yeah.
They don't pay.
That's true.
And it's just a pain in the ass. The golden. I mean, Australia had a marvelous era of live venues where bands could make, you could literally make a living, playing music. But it's been on a, downhill thing for years, and it's got to the point now where, you're basically, you're paying to play.
Yeah.
If you're well known, you can still get some good gigs. But for bands like us that have a small but dedicated following, venues just aren't interested because we just can't draw the numbers that they need.
I can really relate to what Greg just said a moment ago. You end up paying to play, which is exactly what's happened here in England as well. I mean, that's why we stopped gigging. Eventually, we were having to pay, not the venue, but actually just pay to get to the venue.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, so it's to do with also the producers and the, what used to be the record companies is now the, Google and YouTube, for profit. Anyway.
So really, I mean, it sounds like what you're saying, like the evolution of technology and internet and that kind of thing is basically, changed everything for you guys.
Well, I don't actually agree that the problem is technology. I think the technology is fantastic. I think the problem is that it's in the hands of about 1% of the population for profit. So I will never subscribe to the problem being technology.
Yeah, look, technology like Spotify and things like that are great, but when you're getting 0.00005 cents per play, what's the point? As I say, unless you can get yourself a big following, you've really got no option.
We hope that we can do that for you here at Malacot, get you a big following, at least, in the UK and Australia and, a few of the other countries that tune in to the shows. But guys, it's been such a pleasure. Thank you so much, Steve, Roscoe and Greg, for joining me on Malacot Radio. I'm so excited to be able to have you here. I really am, after all this time of playing your music, and you definitely got a fan in me. So I hope to speak to you all soon at some point in another interview, and perhaps when when COVID is finally contained, you know, we can have
Yes,
another interview then.
yes. Good luck.
Okay.
It took us a while to get over it
Yeah.
and to come out of lockdown. So I wish you all the best, the British, on your efforts.
Thank you very much.
And lovely to speak to you.
Yeah,
Thank you so
lovely
much.
to speak to you all as well. And thank you so much for taking the time, because there's a massive time difference between England and Australia. So I really do appreciate it. Thank you so much, guys. And I hope that I will speak to you again at some point in the future. And yeah, please, everyone, just, listen to Malacot Radio and have a look at their info as well on our website, which is malacotradio.com, and you will see everything on the website. We'll be having them featured on the website as well, and that is the legends who are Kash Nexus.